Hello, everyone. My name is Chris, and today I'm going to be doing something a bit different. So, I'm currently learning Linux. This is my OS. I'm using Pika OS, and I wanted to get to know a little bit more. So, I'm learning Bash as well because I do want to use some Bash scripts. Um, and yeah, instead of doing some random exercises, I'm going to make like a small script to ask my girlfriend to be my Valentine. And I'm going to do that in the terminal. So this isn't meant to be impressive or advanced. It's just me learning by building something small and personal. And yeah, do ignore if I do some pauses because it is my first time recording stuff. And might take a while before I'll get a bit comfortable doing it. So, but yeah, I'm in a phase of my life where I'm learning Linux properly and figuring things out as I go. I realize I learn best when I actually build something instead of just watching tutorials. Um, so this video is me learning Bash, a little step by step, I'd say. And if you're also new, you can follow along. Um, yeah, let's get to it. So I'm gonna be opening the terminal. So I'm using Kitty at this point, and yeah, let's see how it goes. So I'm gonna create a new empty file, and I'm gonna call it Valentine. So nano just means that I'm just gonna open the file in the terminal. I'm gonna call it Valentine, and the .sh is just the extension for shell script. So yeah, I'm gonna create that. And by running this command, it creates the empty file and automatically enters. So I can start writing into it. So the first line that we want to run in the shell script is called a shebang. And the shebang is just a line that tells the system which interpreter should run this file. So in this case, we are just gonna point it towards bash. So my bash is in users bin environment and bash. This just tells Linux to use bash, um, find bash on the system and run the script using it. Um, so yeah, without this line, Linux just wouldn't know how to execute the file properly. So I recommend always using a shebang to run shell scripts. And what we do next is we're gonna write the first part of it. So I I would say I'll start with the clear. Clear will just clear everything in the terminal, make it clean. And then we'll use echo. Echo is the simplest way to print text to a terminal. Uh, I would say most people would know echo from um hello world type of thing. But that's mainly what it's used for. Is just to print text to the terminal. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this really basic on purpose. So I'm not gonna use any fancy stuff or anything like that. But I do want to make it a little bit more than just text. So I think I'm gonna grab a um emoji. So I'm going for an Emojipedia. Um, so I'll grab a heart. So Okay, yeah. Copy a little heart. And so my girlfriend is called Melissa. So I'm just gonna write her name. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do Control O, which is from what you can see down here. It's gonna write the file. So I'm gonna write whatever this is to the file, whatever I wrote here to the file. And I'm gonna exit the file and I'm gonna run just to see if it works. And by running, what I'm gonna do is obviously run things in this directory. Oh, before we actually run the file, we have to make it executable. So the file is this one. And if you go to properties and permissions, you'll notice that the execute is not ticked, meaning that allow executing the file as a program is not ticked. So it's a read and write, but it's not going to actually execute. So we can either tick it by going to the properties of the file, or we can also change the mode. So change chmod will change the mode, and then we can also do .x, and x mean execute. So we'll do change mod, and then we'll go for Valentine.sh. So what I did just now was exactly allowing it as a file. Did I make the wrong one? I might have to do this then. Hopefully that was the case. Oh, that's the wrong one. That that they it found no, still not working. Mod. Am I putting it wrong? Am I writing it wrong? I am writing it wrong. It's not minus, it's plus. So minus is just taking it out. Yeah. So we want to do plus x, which is we're adding the executable file to it. So by doing this, we should now see that. There we go. So learn something new. I guess I can, this means taking it out. There we go. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're changing the mode and we're adding executable to the file. You can also go obviously to the file itself and um, set the permissions to it. Okay, so now that we changed the mode to it and it's now an executable file, we're going to run it. So this we're going to be, this just means in the current directory. So it means that I'm searching valentine.sh in the current directory and can run it. And there you go. So it cleared. Excuse me. There we go. So it then cleared the text that was on top, which is in this case the line that I had executing the file, and it's now showing Melissa, and the hearts also work, which is great. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the file, and we're going to add a few more steps to it. So what I'm going to do is show it doesn't stack everything into each other. I'm going to do an extra echo. And what that will do is just create like an empty line. Just so I can have like a little bit of space between both. And I'm going to ask, will you be my Valentine? There we go. And I guess we can add another one just to give a little bit of space from the end of the file up until the beginning of the next line. So we'll save this and we'll run it again. But will it be my Valentine? Great. So it is working, and it's going great. There's another thing that you can do for testing if you don't want to make it executable. I forgot to mention that as well, but I'm gonna show you that, which is um, even if you remove, oh, sorry about that, even if you remove the executable on a Valentine message, so as you can see, it doesn't run as a executable file. You can also run it by just typing a bash valentine.sh, and that just serves it to be testing. Uh, so that works if you're like a bit unsure if you want to put it in executable. If you don't know how to do it, you can also just run bash and run the file for testing. But I do recommend if you want to open it as like a file, if you want to change it or something, or if you want to send it, uh, it just needs to be executable file if someone is gonna click on the file itself to open it, if that makes sense. So there is that, but by using bash, you can test it on the system. So I'm gonna again just add the execution for it. Valentine.sh, and we can double check to see if that is the case, which it is. So uh, that is what I want. Okay, so back to it. This is where we are at the moment. And now we're going to move to the next part, which is adding some options. Right. So I'm going to add just a little bit, one more echo just to have a little bit more space. And what I'm going to do is now here one. I don't know why there's green there. Oh, because of space. Yeah, that's fine. One. Yes. And then second option would be two. And we'll go yes. Okay, so now what we're gonna have is obviously the main text. I'm gonna remove one just to be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing with equal spaces. So you'll have the top text. We checked it works. This will also checked it works, right? Um, but now instead of just going into text, we're also going to be taking input from the user. In this case, one or two. So what we want to have is a step for reading the user input. And how that goes is, wait, I'll separate a little bit from the echoes. We're going to write read, and we'll do read RP. So read pauses the script and waits for the user input, and that's basically what it means. And then the RP just means lets me show you a prompt, and the input gets stored into a variable. So in this case, I'm gonna do choose one or two. Put that, and I'm gonna store it into choice. Okay, so what I wrote here is a step where it's gonna read whatever the person is gonna input. In this case, girlfriend, and the P is just lets me show the prompt, which is in this case choose one or two, and then choice. What the choice does is it's gonna store whatever input my girlfriend is gonna write into the keyboard or into the terminal, and it's gonna store it in a variable called choice. Now you can use that variable to then show things like, for example, if I want to do um, echo just to show, just to check that it actually works, we can do you choose, and then how do you use that variable? You use the dollar sign and you write the name of it. So that's how you use the variable, and we can test it to see if it actually works. And we're gonna save it. We're gonna exit, and we're going to run it. All right. So now we have text on the top, question, got the two options, and as you can see, it says choose one or two. It doesn't show the text yet of um excuse me, it doesn't show the text of you choose and the choice. And the reason for that is because the script itself is waiting for the input, meaning that I can do that or that, right? So choosing one, and it says you chose one. If I want to run it again and I do choose two, then you choose two, right? And obviously, if I choose something else, you choose three. So this is what it means by returning the text input or the input that the person actually inputted. So that's what the variable is. It's just returning whatever value you put in. Now, the situation here is that we have a choice between one or two, right? And in this case, I wrote three, but it still showed me three, right? There's not one of the options, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to add some logic, right? So what we're going to do is going to go back into the file, and we can remove this. This is just to show that it was working. We can remove that. And now we're just going to add some choices, some logic to the choices. And how do we do that? We add if statement. And I know this might seem very complicated, but we'll go through it step by step and we'll see how things go. So we'll start by saying if open brackets, close brackets. So double brackets are a more safer modern way of doing conditions in Bash. You can also do single brackets, I believe, but according to what I've researched, double brackets is a bit safer. So this is where the logic happens now. So if we're gonna do we're gonna call the variable if the choice, right, is equals to one, right? So what we're writing here is if the person, or in this case, my girlfriend, writes one in the terminal and presses enter, right? Then we want to show, we do some echo just to give it a little bit of space to separate it from the top. And we want to show, yay. Oh, like that. Yay. And then echo, you said yes. There you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just indent this. Don't know if it's going to make a difference, but it is clearer for me to read what's inside or not. So we have if statement. So if the choice is equal to one, then it runs this echo, yay, you said yes. So elif just means else if. It's a short form for it, but it's else if the choice is equal to, right? Then what do we want to show? We'll do a new echo again just to have a little bit of a space. She said yes. Echo. I'm not yelling. I'm just excited. All right. So the elif, it's not the end of the conditional statement or the if statement. So we have to give it another choice. If so, what we're going to do is we're going to say else, right? Echo, just a little bit of a space. Um, Invalid choice. Right. And then we'll do FM for the end of if statement. So just to go through it again, just to explain what's happening here. So we got an if statement. We have the input of what my girlfriend is going to choose, either between 1 or 2, and is going to store it into a variable called choice. And then if that choice is equal to 1, then it's going to run this. And it's going to say, yay, you said yes, right? If else, if that choice is equal to 2, then it's going to run this part, right? So you can say, she said yes, I'm not even yelling, I'm just excited, right? Else, and you can tell that I haven't put any condition here, meaning I haven't put any if the choice is equal to 3 or if equal to 4. For this, it just means if any other choices between 2 or if any other choices other than 2 and other than 1 will give this as an answer. So it will say invalid choice, right? And then the fi is just to end the if statement. Okay. So we're now going to test it and let's see how it works. So we do write to the file, we save it, and we can exit by doing Control X, as you can see here at the bottom. And we will clear it a little bit. We'll run it. So let's see how it goes. So we run it and it says, Melissa, will you be my Valentine? And now you have 1, 2, and then choose either 1 or 2. So say I do 1. Yay! You said yes. And that's great. It's working. So let's do another one. Test it out. And it says 2. She said yes. We're not even yelling. I'm just excited. All right. So you see that the conditions is not working. And what I'm going to try now is putting an input between that it's not 1 or 2. So we'll see that the invalid choice condition is going to come into. So 3, and it's going to say invalid choice. 4, invalid choice. Um, yuppie, invalid choice. So anything that's not 1 or 2 would be an invalid choice, right? Again, you can say 1. It's an invalid choice, right? So that's the case of it. That's why we put either 1 or 2, right? So that is the gist of it. I know it is something that's a bit simple, but it is something that I enjoyed making. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So this isn't advanced bash. It's something I made while learning, and it actually means something to me. So if you're also learning Linux or coding and feeling a bit lost, just build small things, build silly things, build personal things. That's how things start. That's how the hunger for knowledge starts. And I hope you all enjoyed this. And again, apologies if it's a bit awkward. It is my first time trying to record stuff. Um, so one quick note: Bash runs natively on Linux. It does not run in Windows properly without the help of third-party things. So if you do want to see this for Windows, if you want me to recreate this in PowerShell, um, do let me know and I'll look into it and I'll make a video so you can also ask your significant other if you want them to be your Valentine the that way. Um, so thank you for watching. To all nerds out there, I hope you found this useful and I don't know, fun, I would say. And yeah, hope to see you all in my next video. Thanks.